Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It seems you really like this top 5 lists, comparisons, and here let's discuss best spin-oriented rackets in my opinion. First, let's try to explain what actually makes a spin-oriented racket. There are some key features that will make a racket more spin-friendly. So let's talk about the specs. In general, brands tend to associate spin-oriented rackets with lighter specs, which means the acceleration is a bit easier, probably lower static wave or lower swing wave, or maybe both. In reality, it is not that simple. Acceleration is a good way how to think about it, but it's not a complete story. I think a better way how to describe it would be how to build up speed with the racket, or even better, how to build up force. And when we talk about force, well, there is a mass, but in general lower static wave and lower swing wave is a common way how brands think about spin potential. Your job is to find your balance, your happy medium spot, and it is a very tricky thing to do. Second thing connected with lighter specs is wider string spacing, which means 16-19 string pattern in general will give you a better spin potential compared to 18-20, 18-19 string pattern. Basically, the idea here is the bigger the windows, the bigger the spacing, then the strings have more room to move, and this string movement creates spin. So in other way, how you can call it is responsive nature of a racket, more responsive string bed. And the last point is consistent response. And this is a bit tricky. Why would it matter? And for me, it is just to have confidence to hit out. And if you have the confidence, you are more relaxed, and you are not afraid of hitting long, so you actually accelerate a bit better, and with better acceleration you get better spin. So now let's go to my list. Number 5, it is Tecnifibre TFight 300S, endorsed by Iga Świątek. She actually has one of the best spin rates on the tour. And when you talk about the spin potential, it is a bit associated with launch angle and height above the net, and then you see this dip of the ball going down and then from the ground to the face of the opponent. Some rackets have amazing spin potential, but the launch angle is low, so you don't really experience this spin potential, even though it is there. But when the ball travels in a more neutral height above the net, then you don't really experience the spin potential, I would say. Yeah, this bend of the ball gives you this sensation of, hey, actually this is quite fun, right? And yeah, launch angle is associated with string spacing. Let's go to number 4. It is Babolat Pure Aero 98. I know we have a huge fan base of this frame. When we talk about Pure Aero line, we think about Alcaraz and Nadal, so two Spanish guys that know how to spin the ball. But Pure Aero 98 is a bit different, because the intention behind the string spacing is to give you this balance of spin and control, and with that balance it is actually easier to flatten out the ball when you really need it. So it gives you a bit wider options, I would say. And yeah, Pure Aero 98, 16-20 string spacing, so it gives you a bit lower launch angle, even though the racket itself is responsive and the spacing is still quite big. These 20 crosses are maybe more to kinda limit the responsiveness of Pure Aero 98. You get a bit more confidence to hit out, so you accelerate more, you get more spin potential, but still the response is a bit more predictable. So again, more control, more acceleration. Yeah, it is a great racket, but because it has 20 crosses, the spin potential is a bit limited. And maybe I would actually prefer 16-19 string spacing, but in a more contra-oriented racket, but still with this pure arrow line identity. It is always a balance of things, so hard to say, but 20 crosses definitely limits some of the magic. But for me, as a grinder and a player that prefer contra-oriented rackets, this is the only Babolat frame that I can actually use. So great job, Babolat. When we talk only about the spin, then yeah, it is slightly lower on my list. Number 3. It is Solinco Whiteout V2, 16-19 string spacing, and it is still a bit wider string spacing compared to rackets like a blade. It gives me this spin potential, and still on one side it is a contra-oriented racket, so I tend to think that to me, when it comes to maximize spin potential, it is relatively low powered racket with responsive string bed, so you have the confidence to hit out. And with bigger head sizes, you mainly get power, not always spin, I would say. So there is a point where the racket becomes too powerful, and then you don't accelerate with as much confidence. Your acceleration hurts. You start to rely more on power and forgiveness of the bigger head size. I guess the spin-oriented players, maybe they start playing with so much spin that they actually need more power to hit deeper. So maybe that's one way how this kind of play styles and players think about their rackets and game. For me, it is more about confidence and spin potential. Yeah, let's go to number 2. It is, surprise, surprise, Angel TC95 16-19. And yeah, it is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Small head size, thin beam, but very responsive string pattern, string spacing. Many users complain about very high launch angle. I personally use thicker strings, thicker gauge to limit a bit this potential of Angel, to limit the launch angle, but still it is quite high, and yeah, it is a very spin oriented racket. And this is almost a perfect racket. If it was a tiny bit more forgiving, I would still be playing with this frame. I spent a lot of time looking for my perfect specs with Angel TC95, and I still love it. And let's go to number 1. It is Head Gravity Tour. It reminds me a lot of Angel TC95, but it is a 98 square inches head size, and it is a Gravity, so the head size is a bit more rounded on the upper part of the head. The response is there if you customize the racket to your liking. I think yeah, I was achieving very similar shape to what I was experiencing with Angel TC95. Maybe the response is actually a bit more predictable than from the Angel TC95, because with Angel I couldn't play with 125 strings, and in Gravity Tour I actually could. The response is great, and you still can flatten it out, and it checks all the boxes of a spin-oriented racket. Lighter specs, wide string spacing, responsive string bed, and the response is quite consistent when it comes to this world of spin-friendly racket. So yeah, that's it for this comparison, for this top list. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and see you soon. Bye bye.